Good evening and welcome to the Wednesday edition of Source 16 News at 10. New this hour, a Christian County Circuit Court Judge Andrew Self today set a new trial date for 5 Hopkinsville residents accused of burning a vehicle and trying to blow up a house last year. Self scheduled the week of August 8th as the trial date for Roland Jackson and his wife Rachel, Josh Dykes, Jesse Decker, and Thomas Billings. The judge then released Roland Jackson from jail on his own recognizance and ordered him to be under house arrest and pay for his own ankle monitoring device. In addition, Self told Jackson, who is also charged with 2 counts of attempted murder, that he is only allowed to leave his residence for court appearances and to meet with his attorney. As previously reported by Source 16 News, the 5 individuals are charged with multiple counts of second-degree arson and first-degree wanton endangerment for shooting into a North Main Street residence, setting a vehicle on fire, and placing an explosive device near the family's home on October 4th, 2010. Meanwhile, during another hearing this afternoon, Judge Self denied a motion to reconsider his ruling regarding a mental health evaluation of a Nashville woman accused of attacking the wife of Hopkinsville Mayor Dan Kemp. However, Judge Self told 51-year-old Lori Ann Little's attorney, Nan Calloway of Elton, that he may renew the motion to reconsider at Little's March 30th pretrial conference. Calloway spoke briefly to Source 16 News and stated that her client does not need a mental health evaluation and that her client does not have a history of mental illness. Little is accused of forcing her way into the Kemp's Deepwood residence and physically assaulting Henrietta Kemp by pulling her hair on December 15th. She remains in the Christian County Jail on a $35,000 bond. Kentucky Governor Steve Beshear today issued a call for a special session to begin Monday. Beshear says that this is in response to Senate Republicans' failure to address the Medicaid budget and the graduation bill during the regular session. The governor says although 114 of 138 members of the General Assembly supported the governor's approach first announced in November that included increasing managed care efforts to address the gap, today Senate Republicans, led by Senate President David Williams, decided to go home without resolving the issue. Governor Beshear says, quote, David Williams is putting petty politics and his personal ambition before the needs of Kentucky families. His inaction to address our budget gap means I, once again, have to call him back in for a special session to do a job he should have done in the regular session. He is once again forcing taxpayers to pay him twice for a job he should have done in the last 2 months. In November, the governor proposed transferring $166.5 million for the fiscal year 2012 Medicaid budget to fiscal year 2011, then capturing those savings through expanded managed care programs and other program efficiency measures, which Beshear says overwhelmingly passed in a bipartisan manner in the House. The call for the special session, scheduled to begin Monday, also includes the graduation bill, which raises the legal dropout age to 18 and enhances alternative education programs to assist students who may be at risk of dropping out. The Christian County Attorney's Office has been named one of the state's top child support contractors. According to the Kentucky Cabinet for Health and Family Services, the county is ranked 13th among all Kentucky counties and is ranked first in counties classified as urban based on population numbers to collect child support. Since taking over child support collections in 2008, County Attorney Mike Foster says his staff has worked extremely hard to collect payments.
Well, first of all, we restructured the way administratively that we collect child support. We challenged our staff members to do the best job they can. We also had a press release and announced that we were going to arrest a lot of people, and it got people's attention. So we put a lot of people in jail and we indicted a lot of people, and I think within the 6 months to a year period following those actions, people started realizing that we were serious about what we were talking about, that we meant what we said and said what we meant.
Foster adds that it was important to him and his staff to collect child support payments for area children.
Well, when a non-custodial parent comes $5,000 to $10,000 behind their child support obligation, in my mind, they likewise have abandoned that child. We try to give the non-custodial parent every opportunity to pay. We give them options. If they do not choose to follow those options, there are consequences for your actions in life, and not paying child support means in Christian County you're going to go to jail.
In 2008, Christian County was ranked 33rd in the state in child support collections. A Fort Campbell fighter pilot was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross and Air Medal with Valor during a recent ceremony held in Afghanistan. Apache helicopter pilot Chief Warrant Officer 4 Tory Myers of Hollywood, California, was presented the awards by Commander of Combined Joint Task Force and Regional Command East, Major General John Campbell. Military officials say Myers was honored for his actions during a complex attack on combat outpost in Afghanistan's Paktika province on October 30th. The fighter pilot says, quote, "It definitely made an impression having Major General Campbell there for the ceremony." Meanwhile, the Major General says, quote, "Whenever we can recognize true heroes like Chief Myers, it's really, really special." Officials say he flew through bad weather and provided precision fire that helped repel more than 300 insurgents. In other court action today, the man charged with murder in connection to the death of Susan James appeared in Christian District Court this morning for a preliminary hearing. 44-year-old Tramiel Jerome Smith's attorney, Cody Mybuyer, questioned the lead detective in the case who testified about the events leading up to Smith's arrest and charge of murder in the death of James. The detective testified that a witness, Damondo Pettigrew, came forward last Tuesday after the highly publicized murder and told police when he was at Smith's home visiting family he saw a mostly naked female body lying near the back door. When he asked Smith about it, the 44-year-old replied that she was a friend and he was taking her home. Pettigrew then reportedly told police he saw Smith move the body out of the house and place it in her Ford Explorer. The detective also testified that while Smith was being interviewed, he admitted to leaving James' SUV in a parking lot. Police previously reported that James' vehicle was found at the dollar store parking lot on East 7th Street later that day, which is how detectives were able to identify the female's body. James's partially clothed body was found by a passing motorist lying on the side of Christian Quarry Road around 6:30 on Tuesday, March 1st. Smith remains lodged in the Christian County Jail on a $1 million cash bond. A Marshall County grand jury will now get the case of a 29-year-old woman who police say was high after snorting bath salts and then dropped her 2-year-old on the side of Interstate 24. A Marshall County District Court judge bound over the case of Cynthia Palmer to the grand jury during a preliminary hearing this afternoon. Palmer was arrested in Marshall County by Kentucky State Police on February 28th after she was traveling from Fort Campbell and told troopers that she had snorted bath salts and had to pull over on I-24 because she started hallucinating. State Police reported that Palmer retrieved her 2 children, ages 2 and 5, out of her vehicle and started walking down I-24 when she dropped her 2-year-old on his head, causing a large laceration on his head. The 2-year-old was taken to Cosire's Children's Hospital in Louisville due to the severity of the head injury, and the 5-year-old was turned over to Children's Services. Palmer was booked into the Marshall County Jail on charges of first-degree assault, first-degree wanton endangerment, and public intoxication. A Christian County Circuit Court judge has denied a motion to withdraw a guilty plea made by one of the men sentenced in the Amish Mennonite robberies last year. 18-year-old Dacry Scott's attorney had filed a motion to withdraw his guilty plea, but Judge John Adkins denied the motion yesterday and scheduled formal sentencing on the morning of April 13th. In January, Judge Adkins deferred Scott's sentencing after receiving a letter from him saying he felt he was misled by his lawyer in his plea bargain. Scott pled guilty to 9 counts each of robbery, burglary, and wanton endangerment, as well as 1 count each of tampering with physical evidence and fleeing or evading police. As part of the plea agreement, Scott was sentenced to 27 years in prison. Scott and 4 other males entered into plea bargains with the Commonwealth's attorney in connection with 9 robberies and burglaries of Amish Mennonite homes in Christian and Todd counties in February 2010. The Tennessee Valley Authority is doing its best to make peak energy season easier for its customers by taking advantage of hydroelectric power.
So when you have a hot summer afternoon and we've got all of our nuclear plants and all of our coal plants running and everything's running and everybody's still using their air conditioning, we can use our pump storage facility to draw the water down and use it for hydroelectric power out of the lake and dump it back into the river.
The local Little River Audubon Society hosted a public information meeting at Lake Barkley Sunrise Room last night, where TVA Relations Manager Nancy Mitchell said using hydroelectric power helps TVA to balance power generation with load demands. These hydroelectric plants provide about 13% of TVA's needs. When asked about new bridge construction on Kentucky and Barkley Lakes affecting lake levels, Mitchell replied the construction would not affect the levels. She noted that TVA has not been contacted about the possible issue, and if the bridge construction required lake levels to be lowered, an environmental study would be required. TVA provides power to 27 counties in western Kentucky. Now here is Hopkinsville Christian County Crime Stoppers Coordinator Paul Ray with the featured fugitives of the week.
This week, Hopkinsville police need your help locating 2 wanted fugitives.
Police are looking for 33-year-old Carrie Wayne Brasher, who's wanted for probation violation. Brasher is a white male who stands 5 feet, 10 inches tall, and weighs 135 pounds. His last known address was the 3000 block of Greenville Road. Police are also looking for 54-year-old Bobby Wayne McCombs, who's wanted for probation violation. McCombs is a black male who stands 6 feet, 2 inches tall, and weighs 240 pounds. His last known address was the 1000 block of Rose Drive.
If you know where police can locate these wanted fugitives, and we've got cash waiting for you, pick up your phone now and call our tips line at 887-TIPS. If your information leads to an arrest, Crime Stoppers will pay you a cash reward. And remember, we will never ask your name, and you will not have to appear in court. Well, this week's Fugitive of the Week, I'm Officer Paul Ray for Crime Stoppers.
Tonight's Powerball jackpot is $40 million, and Friday's Mega Millions jackpot is $151 million.